darker than light. He'll give you strife. He's Todd. He's tall, he's mean. He's labeling machine. He's Todd. Rides a motorbike. He'll tell you what it's like. He's Todd. Don't know what he'll say. He'll scare the kids away. He's Todd. He's Todd.
Welcome to episode 12. 12 frickin' weeks on here so far. So I do appreciate those who have tuned in thus far, those who have continuously joined this, and welcome to the newcomers, if there are any out there. You know, we've had tens and tens of thousands of visitors on here, kind of the McDonald's of, you know, the web right now. Cajillions served. But again, I appreciate you showing up this morning. I hope you're all well out there. You know, we're still hunkered down, still under, I guess, house control or house arrest, if you want to call it. But things are good. May Gray still out here, a little pre-June gloom here in gray Carlsbad, California. I hear it's getting hot in other areas right now. So, you know, in a way, I'm glad I'm kind of hunkered down, especially during this time of season. So welcome to BS with Todd. And this is our 12th episode. Can't believe it's been 12 weeks. And speaking of, I show these every week just to show the resiliency of our labeling. This one was actually, both of them were put in to these containers 11 weeks ago. I think it is. This one's in water. We got a cable flag. We got a cable wrap. Still no signs of deterioration or coming off. This one's actually in oil. All right. And the same thing. So again, they're very tough labels. So keep that in mind when you're considering your labeling options. So we have covered a plethora of subjects during these 12 weeks. Previous episodes are available. Please let us know if you want to watch any of the previous episodes. We have covered a wide array of subjects. This particular week, we're going to talk about security and some of the labeling attributes that go along with the security market. And again, there's an integration between the datacom and the security market, and we'll kind of go into that a little bit. First and foremost, I want to introduce Mr. Jamie Brookover. Jamie, are you out there somewhere?
What?
Let me see your smiling face. Hi,
What?
Good morning.
What?
Did we wake you up again, Brookover?
What? Yes.
Okay. So Mr. Jamie is going to be in the background. He is going to be answering. And before you go, Jamie, I want an audience. I want to compare a few things here. But he's going to be answering all your questions in the background. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you definitely need any bad advice, Jamie's the one to give you that.
Yes.
So let him know. So if you notice the top of Jamie's head, I don't know, if you look back some of the previous episodes, there seems to be the second coming up there. And I've been giving Jamie a bunch of stuff, and I want to share what I see when I look at Jamie, and I don't know. Yeah, so it's either that one,
Not nice.
which is, huh? All right.
Not nice.
Or the other one that I like is this guy right here. And let's just bring this up real quick. And this is
HR. Are you watching this?
This
HR
is
hosting.
Grumpy.
I got HR on the phone.
This is Grumpy Jamie. So I'm
Call
telling you
HR right now.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. You know what? They're probably on hold. So anyway, Mr. Jamie Brookover's in the background. Jamie, I really appreciate you. I do. Thank you very much.
HR will be calling you shortly. Keep your phone on ring.
Okay, thanks. I really don't have much more to say here. I'm having a bad hair day myself. So security in general. All right, let's talk about that a little bit. Most of the security these days, I'm sure you're aware of it, runs through IP. And for Bruce, if you're out there, that's Internet Protocol, all right? And so there's a distinct correlation between security now and datacom. So you have security servers, you have hubs and routers out there, you have patch panels, you have patch cables, Of course, you got your infrastructure going out to, that device, whatever it may be. Jamie, I'm not answering your call right now. Anyway, so the labeling is somewhat the same as Datacom. Last week, I believe it was last week, I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I believe last week we covered 606C, which is the ANSI TIA labeling specifications. And a lot of those specifications hold true to security. All right. So in a typical security environment, again, you have all the aforementioned as far as your active and passive electronics, but then you got your infrastructure and you got the actual device itself. So, it could be a camera, it could be a WAP, it could be an access point for access control. And that's another area where, there's not a whole lot of regulations on access control out there, and there's not a whole lot on security. So it's not like Bixby. And I know there are some standards out there for security. They're just not real popular, and not a lot of people are really adhering to them. And so, let me get rid of this real quick. I'm sorry. So one of the things that we need to follow, and the whole idea behind labeling is basically identification purposes. It's a very simple foundation. And I'll give you a couple of great examples, is that inside a closet these days, a telco closet, an MDF, an ITC, an MTC, blah, 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 blah. All right, you have your data, you have your telephony, and a lot of the telephony is over IP these days too. So everything's coming off of servers, routers, hubs, switches, you name it. All right. Again, all that needs to be labeled for identification purposes. Not only should you do that before you close out the job, right? And whoever's closing out the job should recognize that and really shouldn't sign off on the ticket until it's labeled correctly. But the big issue comes in if there's any type of troubleshooting, all right, is that if that IT director, facilities manager has any questions, or you got a camera that goes down, or you got some glitches, or you got a camera that goes awry, you need to fix that quickly. And chances are he's going to call a contractor. Hopefully it's the same contractor, if they did a good job, that was called to come back in. But let's say hypothetically you get another contractor that comes out and needs to troubleshoot this stuff. Security, from my standpoint, is a lot worse than, let's say, Datacom. Datacom infrastructure, you can go up to a PC, you can unplug it, you can plug in your identifier if you need to tone and tag it. Somebody's back in the closet, they hear it, they know that is that particular cable, and they can troubleshoot that. When you're talking about things up in the ceiling, you have no idea where the stuff is going, none whatsoever. It's very important to label this for identification purposes, because again, that particular camera, if it's not labeled correctly, and if it is a multiple story, let's say office building, you're going to have a lot of closets in that office building. That tech has no idea where that goes as far as that cable. And so from a money standpoint, your customer's paying a lot of money for somebody to come out and troubleshoot that if the mapping wasn't done correctly. Number two, if it's not labeled correctly. Because I'm anal about labeling, wherever I am, I'm always looking up at the ceiling for cameras. I'm looking for labels. I'm looking at, the fire control. I'm looking in closets. I'm looking at the electrical panels in my hotel rooms, so forth. And again, what I see is somewhat horrific out there. Number one, it's not labeled, which is bad. Number two, somebody may have used a Sharpie. Well, that's a little better, right? A piece of duct tape, if you will. But then again, that labeling may not make any sense to that tech. So I've got a couple of different ideas that have worked out really well on some projects of mine. And we talked about QR codes earlier. So let me digress a little bit. So you've got your active electronics, your servers, your routers, your hubs, your switches. You've got your passive electronics, all right, that need to be labeled in security, your patch panels, if you will. Look at where the actual camera may plug in. It may not be a home run to the camera. You may have a patch cable going into that camera. So again, that faceplate needs to be identified. And then the actual device needs to be labeled as well, whether it be a WAP, whether it be a camera. You could even have something like an aux sensor. A lot of that's a debate whether aux sensors are part of security or safety. But again, a lot of these aux sensors are being viewed as part of the security solution. So again, there's a lot of different components with labeling here. One of the easiest things, and let me draw you a little scenario right here. So let's say I walk in, I'm a tech, I walk into an office building, and they point out the camera that there's an issue with the camera. All right, it's either swing, out of focus. I mean, anything. The camera may be down. There's a plethora of many issues that may be with that particular device. So now you have to identify, right, where that camera goes back to in the closet. If there's no labeling whatsoever, hey, you're SOL. And then we're talking about time and effort to find somebody to open up the closets. We're talking about a toning issue. So it could be very costly. So imagine this. A tech walks up to a camera, and there is a QR code sitting on that camera. Now, you may need in my case, I wouldn't need a ladder, all right? In Jamie's case, maybe so, all right? In fact, I know so. So you get up there and you take your phone and you shoot that QR code, and it tells you exactly where that goes back to. It maps out that particular camera goes back to patch panel 1, port position 3, rack 3, and then you can even go farther than that if you want to, as far as your cable management. But again, I'm a huge fan of the QR codes on these cameras. A lot of the cameras out of the box will come with some type of barcoding on there. Again, that's manufacturer specific. So it really is as easy as doing something like this. And I'm going to, I'll show my phone real quick. All right. So if y'all can see that, this is actually a barcode that I did a couple of weeks ago in a presentation. But again, just imagine walking up and shooting that, and you have it right there. I mean, it shows where that goes to. So again, there's really no need. Google. But the whole idea again behind this is that you can shoot that, and it'll give you things like the IP address, where that camera goes to. So from an identification perspective, it makes it very, very easy to get that tech in and out of there, fix the problem, and then move on. So how do we do these things? On the actual printers themselves, this particular printer will not print in in QR code. It's got any other barcode in there, but any type of Aztec or QR code, it won't do. However, I can load barcodes into these things, and I can basically connect the database, which is going to be our cable management database, with this barcode. The other option is you can do it this way. And let me share the screen. And again, some of you have seen this before, but this is our P-Touch editor. This is free software that comes with all of our printers, starting at the PTE 500, then you got the 550, the 750, the 800, then our PTP 900 desktop series. It's all the same software. And there's all sorts of stuff you can do on here. Obviously, you're looking at the tabs right now, but just to build a simple cable, I start off with a template. This particular template is 3 inches long. What I want to do is I want to connect the database to this. So what I'll do is I'll come up here, I'll go to my database, I'm going to connect the database. Now, when you connect the database, again, anything that you have saved inside your PC, all right, as far as a Excel spreadsheet or CSV, you can connect to. So let me go ahead and browse. I'll bring up my databases. Let's just do this one because it's got some IP addresses in here. All right, and then we'll do next. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a database with a whole lot of columns and rows right here. Why that $sign is showing up in my IP address, I still haven't figured it out. But anyway, there's my IP address down below. Now, any column or any row here can actually be associated onto my label template. And it really is as simple as starting where you want to start. In this case, number one, I'm going to copy this information. I'm going to paste this information up here. Now, I can do it two different ways, all right? I can either paste as a text, all right? So there's my IP address up here. Or what I can do is I can come in here and I can paste this as a barcode. Now, I don't want that particular barcode, so what I'll do is I'm going to choose the barcode that I want. In this case, the protocol is going to be a QR code. So I'm going to select the QR code, and there I go. So that QR code is now associated with that IP address. It all depends on the information you want to put into this QR code. You can put a whole lot of information into this QR code. So if you want to put things like your IP address, the type of camera, when the camera was installed on this, when the next service date is or when service is due, where it goes to. I think I mentioned that, but your cable management software, again, it's a matter of just putting that information onto a database and then associating that database with that QR code. So now again, that tech goes up and he's going to take this label that's associated with that camera. He's going to scan it. And man, life is so much easier that way, so much easier. This holds true to anything you're doing out there. So again, you can utilize either your traditional ways of labeling like this with the information if you want. Now, the other cool thing too, and let me show you this, keep your eye on the barcode and then keep your eye on the IP address, the IP address up there. But as I scroll down, everything changes. So if you're going to print this off in a change, your barcode is going to change. Your IP address up there is going to change. So again, it makes it nice and easy when you want to print off a chain of these things. Okay, so that's kind of, to me as a former contractor, if I was paying and charging a customer, certainly I don't want to overcharge the customer. I want it to get my guy in and out of there very quickly. And again, we're just talking about identification. So it makes their job a lot easier. It's easier on the pocketbook of the customer when you label things correctly. Even if you don't use a barcoding system, you use things like the IP address, use things that are visible, maybe where it goes back to. Again, you can put that onto these labels via the software, or if you have one of our machines, again, you can hand type everything. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a little more time consuming. What particular printers can you use with this? And obviously, I love to feature the PTE 550 because it's our top of the line. It's the end all be all. It's the cat's meow, if you will. It does everything. With a 550W, you can even do things like this. And I'm going to stop this real quick. I'm going to go back into here. Let's do this. So there's an app on here. And again, we're talking about security labeling, but with this app, and because it connects to this via Wi-Fi, essentially everything that I can do on the machine, I can do right here as well. Okay. The other app on here, if you want to build your own cables, your own labels out in the field, this is iLink and Label. And as you can see, I've already got a whole bunch of stuff on here, and it's got barcodes and so forth and whatnot. But again, you can print from your phone using barcodes or just making your label on those apps, hit the print button, and away you go. If you're not going to go that far, utilize the PTE 300 right here. So this is a manual and manual only printer. Let me stop that real quick, just in case something pops up. This is manual and manual only. It still has a barcode feature. You can't do the QR codes, but going back a couple of weeks when I did barcoding, most of the phones have apps on there where you can read any type of 2D or linear barcode out there. But you don't need the specific readers like you used to. So even if you want to put a traditional barcode as we know it on there, there are still apps out there that will read these. And one of the things, and let me show you some of my favorites here, all right, as far as the barcode readers. So as you can see, I've got things like Oh, where are they here? Nope, that's not it. I can label utilities. So I got a couple on here. One is Neo Reader in the bottom left-hand corner. All right. The other one is Scan Life in the middle, which is a good barcode reader. And then I got the QR reader. So again, depending upon the type of barcode you want to put on any of these devices, which I highly recommend, your phone can read those. So again, it makes life a lot easier out in the field. Let me stop this again. Going back to the PTE 300, the PTE 300 will not do the QR codes, but again, it will generate there's a standard format of barcodes, and it is a manual entry type of printer with a manual cutter. It will not hold a database, but in a pinch for a tool bag printer, it's a great option, and again, everything comes in a hard case kit. So access control, how much time do we have? 10:21, 8 minutes. Access control, I'm seeing a lot more of that falling to the security side of the fence. In access control, again, you're talking about, it's going back to some type of active electronics. So you want to make sure that it is labeled correctly. If there is a problem with that card reader or some of the locks, you want to make sure that you can identify and fix the problem quickly. It is a good idea to label your wires, your home run to that particular area of access control. Label your wires back behind that device. Usually it's wired differently at times. Make sure that you wire those conductors if need be. Depending upon your customer, I don't know if they're going to let you label that particular access control device due to aesthetics. But if you can, put the company logo on there. Again, I just showed you the software where I was connecting that database. Another option for your customers for anything, even the cameras. Think about it. Put their logos on there. It goes above and beyond, let's say, what your competitors may be doing. All right, and it's a little known feature. And again, you can do it right on the app itself. You can grab any type of picture either off the net or whatever's housed on the phone. You can build that label on the fly on the app and then print to the machine, or do it ahead of time on our P-Touch editor software. But again, give it the personal touch, if you will. So again, things like access control, you got your home run, you got the device itself if necessary, and then back in the closet, you've got the active and passive electronics. I would say if you would follow the same guidelines as the 606 ANSI TIA guidelines as far as the security is concerned, you're going to be safe. And again, proper ID not only makes you look good, but when you have to go back into the building, it makes you look even better because you can get in and out real quick. As far as if you need any help doing this type of stuff, that's what I'm here for. I'm actually really comfortable in my home office. Any type of joint sales calls, if you want to get on to discuss this further, if you want to see the software further, that's what I do. And so reach out to either Jamie or myself, and we're going to show you contact information here in a bit for all of the brother national team included. What else? So update on the 606C. They're actually waiting on me. All right. And so once that's done, it will be housed on brothermobilesolutions.com. I believe for now it's going to be under the support section. But everyone out there will have the ability to go through my 606C presentation, which I gave last week. I condensed it to a half an hour. We will be offering CECs available. And again, I think that would be some really good education, not only for the datacom infrastructure as we know it, but also things like security. And everything is going, IoT devices, security, telephony, voice over IP, everything is going that direction. So again, a lot of the stuff on 606C is going to help you with your labeling on some of these other verticals. Again, if you have any questions on that, let me know. I'm here for your software help. I'm here to help you design labels. That's the other thing I do to occupy my time when I'm not busy doing reports. Is help you with all of your cable design, custom cable designs. So, brother brings something extra to the table. It's a value-added service that we offer. Don't be afraid to reach out. We're here for you anytime. It is 10:25. Man, how this half hour goes. Miss Kelly Swift, as usual. Register now. July 9th, electrical applications. Over those electrical applications, that, as far as labeling, oh man, what a mess that is as far as electrical. And I've got some actual pictures to show you, even some around here. It's horrific. And only because the NEC really doesn't say thou shalt do it. They recommend labeling, but man, I'm still seeing a lot of tape and the duct tape and the Sharpies and stuff like that. So next week, and this applies to everybody because most of the electrical contractors out there are doing low voltage, and some are going both ways. But anyway, I'll go through things like panels, right? Your electrical panels, your sub panels, if you will, your electrical wiring, all right, terminal blocks, stuff like that. So don't forget to tune in July 9th. I think I said next week, didn't I? You know what? I'm taking a break from this. So July 9th, we're going to do electrical applications, and then July 16th, warehouse and manufacturing applications. And I'm going to include some security in there as well. We're going to do maybe a little low voltage and kind of go through what needs to be labeled in that environment. After July 16th, I do have a whole bunch of topics to talk about. We're probably going to go bi-weekly. And, the other thing we may start doing is LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live has a feature that we can get on for short little snippets, and I may be starting that very soon. So keep up with us. We'll send you an email after this is done. Telling you about the next show as well. As far as our contact information, how to get a hold of us. And we do have plenty of time on our hands. Well, some of us do. So reach out at any time, depending upon where you are here in the nation. I here am in the San Diego area. There's my contact information. We got Mr. Jamie Brookover out in Virginia Beach, I believe. Mr. Dan Cobb is in Wisconsin. He's the primary MRO account manager. Mr. Bruce Page, we just say he's on the East Coast. We don't know where he is half the time. Mr. Rob Dawkins is in North Carolina. And our glorious leader, Mr. Craig Robinson, hails out of Bradenton, Florida. So with that being said, it looks like we're about through. Again, if you have any questions, reach out at any time. I believe Kelly's going to put a poll on the screen. I really love to see what you think and what you have to say about these particular shows. It does help me quite a bit. So please take the poll. Tell your friends about this. You know what? Anybody that's got a half an hour on their hands every Thursday, man, come and join me. All right, what else do you have to do? All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to start my day. Y'all take care. Y'all stay healthy. Please take the poll. And again, if you got any questions, reach out to any of us, and we'll be glad to help you with that. So I'll see you next week. Todd out.